Well, I've talked about on the air, and we did this on Media Buzz, this GQ article about Melania Trump. And of course, as a potential first lady, she's going to draw a lot of scrutiny, and not all of it's going to be favorable. I found the article to be very condescending toward Melania because she has chosen basically to be a mom. She's a former model, of course. She does not like the political spotlight. Therefore, I think was kind of written about in very disparaging terms, almost as if she's just a trophy wife, used to being admired for her looks, when she's a more traditional candidate's wife, as opposed to somebody like, let's say, Hillary Clinton, when Bill Clinton was running in 92 and 96. And then there was also the question of whether the magazine went too far in digging into Melania's parents, her father back in Slovenia, back in 1965, apparently based on a paternity lawsuit, father to child out of wedlock had to pay child support. This is a guy who Melania has never met, and I question why that's news and what connection it has to the Trump campaign or the presidential election. Well, a lot of email on that. Andrew Huber writes, I am really amazed at the fact Mr. Kurtz has had such little pushback against the reporter from the Washington Post. She basically just ended the segment by attempting to slut-shame Mrs. Trump by referring to her as a lingerie model with every implication and buckets of snide syrup coming from her mouth. The reporter claimed all first ladies, first of all, Mrs. Trump is the wife of a candidate, got this scrutiny. My God! I'd like to see a little scrutiny of the Democratic frontrunner, former First Lady Hillary Clinton. How about some scrutiny of possible first spouse Bill Clinton? Again, no pushback from Mr. Kurtz. Well, first of all, this is Amy Argersinger, an editor at the Washington Post, former gossip columnist. And there was plenty of pushback from me because we were having a conversation and she was more sympathetic to the GQ profile and saying, well, this is when you run for president, your family, including your wife, including your wife's family, gets this. She wasn't necessarily defending it. She was saying this is the world we live in. I was being more critical, and we had a good, sharp discussion about that. Second of all, if Ted Cruz were to somehow win the nomination, there would certainly be a focus on Heidi Cruz, particularly her experience on Wall Street, I'm sure, would come up. The question is, when does it get too personal? When is the tone unfair? I'm certainly not saying that, candidate spouses shouldn't be written about. If you don't think a lot's already been written about Bill Clinton as a potential first spouse, just wait till the fall. But I think it's not fair to say that Amy Argersinger was disparaging Melania Trump as a former lingerie model. She was saying she understands, with all the pictures that have been taken of her over the years, how it is not unfair in her view to write about that. And it's true, that was her profession. She was a model. But I do think I'm going to speak up about any reporting or analysis or feature stories that I think is unfair. Particularly, look, if you're the candidate, you get everything in the kitchen sink thrown at you. If you're the spouse, you also come under a great deal of scrutiny. But if you're a reluctant spouse who's not really doing much in the way of campaigning, then I think the standards are a little bit different. And if it's unfair, and if I think it goes over the line, I'm going to call it out.